Happy New Year and welcome back to episode 4 of the Before the Score podcast. And I'm going to put emphasis on the happy because Pat Shurmur is no longer the head coach of the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, big move for you Giants fans. I know you're extremely happy, and I mean, pretty much every Giants fan
Oh,
is
you're
happy.
damn right I'm happy.
But the one thing is, Dave Gettleman still the GM of the Giants.
All right, Dave Gettleman, I won't touch on him today. But I want to
Go
welcome
ahead.
you all to the Pat Shurmur Good Luck on Your Future Endeavors celebration. Because this is a celebration. And I just want to thank God that he's gone because he was a horrible head coach. The Giants brought Pat Shurmur in to change the culture, to make it a winning culture, and they brought in a loser. They brought in a loser to make a winning culture. That's just not how you do it.
Yeah, it's a big first step for the Giants. I mean, all that matters now is that they get the right guy to replace him. So if they don't do that right, then this is all for naught. So they got to hammer this next part.
Well, Pat Shurmur was 9-23 in 2 seasons with the Browns, 9-23 in 2 seasons with the Giants. He was phony. He was terrible with the media. He didn't know how. He was very predictable with play calling. He couldn't use Saquon Barkley. He wasn't a leader, and he didn't know how to win. That is my biggest thing with Pat Shurmur. He didn't know how to win.
Yeah, I never really liked him when he was on the Vikings. Obviously, I was happy with that year with Case Keenum getting better. But sorry, Z's scorching down some gummy bears back there. But anyway, I lost my train of thought there. Thank you, Zonak. But yes, with that NFC Championship game and just the play calling for the Vikings against the Eagles, that just made me hate the guy. And I wanted him gone. I wanted Case Keenum gone. It just pissed me off. And seeing Shurmur go to the Giants, I knew it wasn't going to succeed. I just didn't like him as a fit for any team, honestly. He's just not a good head coach. He's a coordinator. He's
not a
one of
coach,
those
you're
guys.
right.
He's a coordinator.
He's a coordinator. He's not a leader of men, and that's the trend in the NFL now. You hire the hot coordinator, and that's just the wrong way, I think, to do it. So let's look at some of the candidates the Giants are looking at and other teams are looking at. And I'm just going to start right with the man of the hour, the man of the NFL right now is Matt Rule.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Matt Rule?
I mean, I wanted Matt Rule to be the Jets head coach last year, so we all know how that went. They had him in the building. They didn't let him pick his coordinators, so he wasn't all with that. So he went back to Baylor and had an even better year than he did last year. So, I mean, he's a really good coaching candidate. I mean, he would be a really good fit with the Giants, ex-Giants coach. I feel like he can handle New York. He'd be much better with the media than Shurmur was. So, I mean, it's a low bar to clear, but I think he'd be a really good hire.
Yeah, with Rule, I mean, like those comments, I guess that's what you have to say before their game. You have to say, I'm more focused on the game, more focused on being here next year. But I really don't see Rule leaving. Even I know the Giants is an enticing job.
There is no better job for Matt Rule than New York Football
Yes,
Giants.
for him personally because of the fit. Yeah.
I think that if he's going to leave for the NFL, if he's ever going to do it, this is the job he's going to leave for. He's not going to leave for the Panthers.
Yeah.
He's not going to leave. The only other job I think maybe
Cowboys,
Dallas.
yeah.
But this is his dream job. That's the only report. It's his dream job, and they're the one team that can lure him away.
It's just a little quick though. He just came up like last year. Baylor I think was like 1-11, and then this year, obviously everyone knows the great season they had. It's a little quick. I think he wants to stay a couple more years in college. Yeah, I mean that trend to the NFL is probably going to happen for most successful college coaches. That's what their goal is. But I don't see him leaving this season. I think with the Giants, McCarthy is more of a. I think that's more the leading candidate in my eyes.
Well, McCarthy, I like McCarthy. I know a lot of people don't like Mike McCarthy, and they think he's another retread who was unsuccessful. But Aaron Rodgers regressed this year without Mike McCarthy as well. And I think everybody wanted to attribute that to McCarthy. It wasn't his fault. He's just older.
Yeah.
And he's just not the same quarterback.
Yeah, Rodgers hasn't looked good this year. I mean, part of the reason he hasn't had these flashy stats because they don't need him this year. Their defense is a lot better. They've been running the ball. So, I mean, this is the first year in a while that the Packers weren't, really relying on Aaron Rodgers being classic Aaron Rodgers.
But when you've needed him, he hasn't been the same quarterback.
He hasn't stepped up when he needed to, like the Niners game and stuff. He looked horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, he hasn't. I mean, it's the first year under the floor. So, I mean, he's probably going to get better after this. But
that's why I
very
think that
disappointing start.
McCarthy might have got a raw deal at the end.
Yeah,
in
no, he definitely got a
Green
bad
Bay.
rap. He got a lot of bad criticism for when it's probably not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my reasoning with McCarthy is I feel Dave Gettleman is kind of on a hot seat here. He needs to hire the right coach. I feel the least risky move is hiring a guy with tons of experience, playoff experience. To keep his job and get this team forward, McCarthy, ideally, I think that move would be right for Dave Gettleman to make.
I see that point, but I have to think the opposite. I think Gettleman, he's not afraid to make the unpopular decision, and that's what he based his entire career on. Odell Beckham Jr., Thomas Davis in Carolina, Josh Norman in Carolina, Landon Collins. He'll do whatever he thinks is right, and if he's convinced that Matt Rule is the choice over Mike McCarthy, I think he'll have no problem giving him whatever Matt Rule needs. So I think personally, that's my favorite is Matt Rule. I wouldn't mind McCarthy. I think Rule will be the head coach. I think he's going to get the job. I think he will leave Baylor for the Giants. The Giants will give him whatever he wants. Honestly, I think they will. They're convinced that they have to do this, and they will. The other candidate, a little dark horse, I was surprised he's taking a meeting with the Giants, which he did 2 years ago, but he hated the idea of what he's being brought into, is Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be opposed at all to Josh McDaniels. I know a lot of people don't like the Belichickian history, but...
Sorry to cut you off, Andrew. I don't like if I were a Giants fan, I would hate Josh McDaniels. I wouldn't want that. Seeing last year or 2 years ago with the Colts, how he got hired and right away stepped down. Or
that looks like a good move now, though.
Well,
he saw the writing on the wall.
Yes, yeah, I get that. But looking at the Patriots' offense this year, Tom Brady's your quarterback, but their offense has just been atrocious, and that has to be on McDaniels. Is he
you can't
losing?
Tell me that offense has any talent in it right now. There's not much talent in that offense.
Yes, I get that. Julian Edelman is your only piece per se.
And I wouldn't even say he's a top 20 wide receiver right now.
I would say he is, but the amount they stepped down from what they were, the Patriots offense, to this year, I get the pieces aren't there, but you got to figure out a way to do it. You're Josh McDaniels. You're one of the highest paid coordinators in the league. You got to figure out. I just don't like, as a Giants fan, if I were a Giants fan, I would just not want to go with McDaniels route.
I mean, McDaniels is a little weird. I just have a really weird feeling about him because everyone kind of blows out of proportion the whole Patriots culture thing. You saw it with Patricia. He hasn't been that great with Detroit so far. You want that tough culture, that winning culture that he comes from, but to a certain extent, it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for every organization. So I think he'll get a coaching job within the next 2 years. Just a matter of where. I think
it didn't work with Patricia though, but now it worked. Flores looks fantastic.
Flores. He looks good for what he was given, but he still won 5 games. He still hasn't really done
with that roster. It was supposed to win 0.
Yeah, it's nice, but until it actually works and they're a playoff team, you really can't say that he's a great success. I like him as a coach. I think he'll be great, but it's a little early to say it. It's jump to any conclusion about.
One guy I like is Vrabel. I know he wasn't on the coaching staff, but he was a player with the Patriots, and he's obviously look at the Titans this year. They're going to be a 6 seed playing. In the playoffs, so he's done a great job bringing Tannehill in and getting him developed. So, with the Patriots way, Vrabel is a bright spot for them.
We'll have a lot more on the Vrabel and the Titans later in the show, but more on the NFL coaching openings. You got Cleveland, Carolina, possibly Dallas, and Washington already filled its vacancy. Yeah. So I think that the most interesting one there is Carolina.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people that's probably the one market that isn't as sexy to people.
Yeah.
But you have a new owner who's willing to spend whatever the hell you want. One of the richest owners in the whole NFL. And I think that Carolina has a nice little core that if you get a good head coach in there, you can make some things happen. So what are your predictions for Carolina?
Carolina is a good spot for a coach to want to go. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have potentially Cam Newton coming back. When they were playing hot football, the Carolina was a decent team this year. They were playing some decent football, and then they kind of slipped it a little bit, let Rivera go. So, a team, I see if the Giants don't go hard after Rule, if they go for McCarthy or something, I see Carolina as a really good fit for Matt Rule. I see McDaniel as being a pretty good fit for Carolina, too, with that offense. They have pieces there. DJ Moore looks really good. Yeah. So, a lot more weapons than they had in New England. So, I think that would be a really interesting spot for him.
I think Carolina's going to go hard after McCarthy. And there's rumors that they like Bieniemy a lot. Yeah. And this is his time.
He's going to get a job eventually.
But these openings, none of them scream his name to me. Yeah. The Giants, I can't see them hiring him for coordinator again. Cleveland, I can't see them going that route. Dallas, I 100% can't see them hiring him. Washington already filled him with Rivera.
Because he doesn't call the plays for KC, so everyone's kind of a little hesitant on hiring him. But he's in these many coaching searches. He's eventually going to get one of them.
Hey, so when you talk about the Giants, right? Do you think there are any dark horse candidates to actually be the head coach next season?
I think that Wink Martindale is a nice dark horse candidate. He's a good leader. He's a defensive guy. The Giants might be looking for a defensive guy, and he'll bring along Joe Brady, which is a rumor from LSU, and he's a good head coaching candidate right now. And he's just no relation to Tom, but it could be one day if he is in the NFL long enough. I think he's going to be a good candidate pretty soon, if he gets an offensive coordinator job, eventually he'll work his way to head coach. So I would take him as kind of a package deal. But if it's not a package deal, you can kind of miss me with that.
And yeah, some rumors that affect me with the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Riley to the Browns,
Yeah,
reuniting with Baker.
The rumors about him going there or Dallas. I think if he goes to Cleveland, that could be one of the most interesting pairings in a long time.
That would be must-watch football, you know. Hopefully, I mean, obviously, as a big Oklahoma Sooners fan, I don't want that to happen. Even though, as much as I love Baker and want him to succeed in the league, I just don't want Lincoln Riley going anywhere, especially Dallas. That would hurt. I hate, you know. But
Dallas, you don't even know if there's gonna be a coaching
yeah,
vacancy.
well, yeah.
Jason
very
Garrett
weird.
still hasn't
You
been.
have to think there's going to be.
You have to, but it's been 2 days now.
Well, I think they might be waiting for his contract to expire. I think like the 12th or something.
It's kind of
Jason
they're
Garrett's
having these
contract.
meetings.
So
and
they might not want to
happening.
fire him and just wait it out. And they could probably do some things behind the scenes to get.
Well,
a
they
coach
could
like
always,
ready.
they could always say, "Oh, they parted ways mutually," which is always, complete BS.
Like John
but-
Dorsey.
Yeah, which was a little
Never
weird.
happens
That
that
was
way.
very weird, but
I mean, they say that, but it never actually
Yeah.
happens that way.
well, the final head coaching former vacancy was Washington hiring Rivera, getting Jack Del Rio.
Yeah.
They have the second overall pick, and that kind of scares me a little bit because they're building a nice little core in Washington. They're gonna get Chase Young,
Yeah.
and that scares the crap out of me with Del Rio there, and they have some good pieces on that defense. So
Yeah, they're building a culture there, and I like what the Redskins are doing. I mean, Rivera, I thought he should have been the hottest, coaching candidate, and the Redskins got him right away, and good for
that
them.
was their guy. They've honed in
yeah,
on
I
it.
mean,
and they said,
they were
getting
very
him.
focused on that
They didn't
hire,
let
and
him leave the building.
and it's definitely going to pay off for him. I think the Redskins are really going to get this thing turning around. I mean, Haskins has to develop, so give it a few years, but I mean, Haskins might be the guy going for the future, the 10-year future. You know, the Redskins really haven't had a quarterback in a long time that has been that long, and you know what Ron did with
with
Cam.
Cam Newton.
Yeah, so like this might be a good relationship that will happen.
I think so. Ron's a good leader, and that's what they need in Washington. They need leadership. Same thing with the Giants. They need leadership, and that's why I think they'll hire Rule, because Rule's the best leader. I think he's a better leader than Ron Rivera, so that's why I really
I don't know
want.
about
I would
it's
say
a
that.
little early to say. He's never been.
This
an
guy's
NFL
turned
coach.
around 2 programs, 2 dead in the water programs. The
Yeah,
coach-
I mean, yeah, but that's
That's
more
college
to him
football.
as like a recruiter and more as like a college.
But
head
you need
coach
to-
than
the Giants have
Rivera,
the
who's
youngest
one of
team
the
in
most
the league.
respected coaches in the league. He's been.
they're
to
basically a
Super Bowl.
college team, the Giants. How young that team is.
I guess, but it's hard to compare the two.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
NFL's
I
a
mean,
lot
you can't
different.
compare him turning around Baylor to turning around an NFL team.
I'm saying Matt Rule, New York Giants, he'll get us turned around pretty quick. But let's move on to college football. We had the big college football playoff last weekend, where me and Dan predicted it right. Pablo was 50-50 and Andrew was
Under the
MIA.
weather.
So
So he was 100% then.
he was
Or
100%
0%.
Didn't
wrong.
get any picks wrong.
Or 0%.
He
so.
wasn't feeling 100%.
Yeah, you're damn right. So what'd you guys think of those games? I think that LSU looked freaking amazing.
What did I think of those games?
Well,
Come
you,
on.
I know you. It would hurt Dan because he's an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah,
but-
that was just an embarrassment. You hate to see that. Going into the game, I obviously said, I'll take credit for what I said. I said Oklahoma's going to cover the spread. And I was really confident with Jalen Hurts and his this history against LSU, being in the SEC, used to it. But the LSU's not an SEC team. They're a complete Big 12 team with a good defense. The defense has gotten better, but that offense is just insane. Watching Oklahoma for these last 3 years with Lincoln Riley, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, their offense is always,
LSU
amazing.
completely remade itself. Who would have thought LSU would be running the air raid offense?
I know. Well, that's
in the
credit to Joe
SEC?
Brady, yeah.
Insane. That's why I want Joe Brady and the Giants. So if they go that route, I wouldn't be opposed. And also the game after that, the Clemson-Ohio State game was one of the best college football games I saw all year, maybe in a long time. And those 2 quarterbacks are going to be the top 2 picks next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, going on to the game, I think those 2 guys are going to be right there. Obviously, Burrow. Next year. Sorry,
Next year, yeah.
Lawrence is going to.
Fields.
I think Lawrence is a lock to be number 1
Lawrence
next year.
might be the best quarterback prospect
Since
of
Peyton
all
Manning?
time. Of all time.
I don't know about. That's
By
hard
next
to
year,
say.
He was one of the topic recruits ever.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
college
yeah.
football.
He broke all of Deshaun Watson's records, and if you put Trevor Lawrence, if he wins this national championship, and they're going to be back there next year,
Yeah.
that could be possibly be 3 national championships for a guy.
And
I know,
he'll
it's just-
probably win a Heisman next year. Too.
Probably win the Heisman. Yeah.
Well, you don't know
exactly.
that. You never know if
But
some
if he,
guy
if
comes
he,
out.
If he wins another championship and wins a Heisman, it's one of the best
Yeah.
resumes in college football
Yeah.
history.
He would be
course.
the best college football quarterback of all time if he wins 3
Yes.
natties.
As like an NFL style quarterback
Easily,
too. Which
Yeah.
is
easily,
crazy.
yeah, and he can run too. He would be the best prospect of all time.
But
He'd
let's
be better
give
than
him
Love.
you know, his time to prove himself, because I think
Yep.
right now Peyton Manning is your number 1 overall
Well, you wanna
prospect
go back
going in.
to
But yes, I mean, if we're gonna
1999.
talk, and then recently, if we're talking recently, I guess you could go Andrew Luck.
Luck, yeah, but I think you can give some credit to Joe Burrow right now, but we'll get into that later in the show. But there's another quarterback prospect that's being talked about going back to school instead of going to the draft. Is Tua Tagovailoa. What do you think Tua should do?
He should go to the NFL, because right now he's pretty much a top 5 pick. I mean,
I think he'd go the Dolphins
They'll
right
probably go
there.
to the Dolphins, which I think are sitting at
5.
5. Yeah, right. So with the hip injury and his injury history, staying 1 more year in college and getting injured again, that's only going to plummet your draft stock. If you're a projected, I know you want to play for the trophies and everything and win everything in college, but if you're a projected top 5 pick in the NFL, you go. No questions asked, you go.
Go get that money. That's
Yep.
what I would say to Tua right now.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, college sports really don't really mean as much as the NFL. I think it's more important to succeed at the highest level than to be succeeding at the college level. That's just my opinion.
And if you go back, you still wait a year, and you still have to compete with Lawrence and Fields the next year. So I mean, it doesn't get any.
If he
And
goes
he's
back-
gonna be a year older too.
If he
He'll
goes
be a year
back, you don't
older,
know if he's
yeah.
going to get picked before any
he
of
might
them.
go. He might go lower in the
If
draft.
he goes out
back
now, I
another
think he'll be
year.
the second quarterback taken. So, but speaking of quarterbacks taken in the draft next year, we got somebody who's our Pablo Power Player of the Week this week.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Steve. And this week we have Joe Burrow of LSU. My bad. Joe Burrow of LSU. Thank you, Dan, for talking about him. He actually just turned 23 a few weeks back, so he's older than us, which is kind of crazy.
He's
Yeah.
actually older than
Think about
Lamar Jackson, who might win the MVP.
That's, to be honest, it's sports, bro. That's you never really know what's gonna happen. Anyway, so just going back to this season, this guy has 5,208 yards. He's second in the league. In terms of touchdowns, he's 55, which is number 1 overall. He only has 6 interceptions thrown, which is, it's 26, which is highly impressive. I mean, you might say it's only college, the level is lower, but in the NFL, that might translate really well.
I think it will.
Let's look back at the game the other day against Oklahoma Sooners. He was 29 for 39, 493 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Just a monster game, and that was all basically by the first half. This guy, he has a great future ahead, and I do think, I don't want to, spoil the basket, spoil the beans, but I do think that LSU is the team that's going to eventually win.
All right, well, we'll have more on that pick and next week's show when we do our official predictions. But I'm going to move on from that and do my Samra story of the week. And my story of the week is going to piss off the guy next to me. Baker Mayfield's my story of the week because of how terrible his season was this year. 6-10, 21 interceptions. This guy was supposed to be an MVP candidate. He's lucky Jameis Winston exists, or he would have been the worst. He would have had one of the worst quarterback seasons of anybody this year. He would have led the league in picks. Get your act together. Stop making commercials. Stop chirping other players in the league. Stop chirping fans. What are you doing, man? You see the videos of him chirping those fans at Cincinnati? Ignore it. Are you an idiot? If he doesn't get his act together, he'll be the next Johnny Manziel. Got his whole staff fired. Got the GM fired. He'll be the next Johnny Manziel if he doesn't get his act together in the next 2 years.
Wow, where do I start? First of all, Dorsey Kitchens thing. Nope, not on him.
That is on him.
Not on him at
Kitchens
all.
got the job because of Baker Mayfield, and he lost the job.
I mean, if
because
it wasn't
of
for
Baker
Baker
Mayfield.
Mayfield, he wouldn't have the job to begin with.
But he lost
was
it because
never
of Baker.
qualified for it. He's lucky he got that to begin
His
with.
style of coaching, his leadership, his play calling, his red zone offense, terrible. That's why he got fired. It's not because of Baker. There was a lot of things wrong with that
Baker sucks,
offense.
bro.
Baker was an
Overhyped.
entitled baby
There we go.
this year.
I've been saying this for weeks. I cannot stand this guy, bro. I hate guys who just come into the league and just think they're owed something.
Let's talk about Danny turnovers. I mean, how many turnovers did he
Danny
have?
Dimes had a better season than Baker Mayfield, and
I
Baker
mean,
Mayfield talked shit.
He had just
all
as many
offseason.
turnovers, probably. If you add it all up, and he had, 3 less games started? I mean,
If
let's talk about Danny turnovers.
if Daniel Jones didn't get injured, he would have shattered Baker Mayfield's touchdown record from last year.
I wouldn't say
Shattered
shattered.
it.
I would not
He would
say
have gotten
shattered.
at least 30 touchdowns.
Okay, Baker didn't play 3 games last year, and he has the record.
Daniel Jones didn't play.
This is
5
what Baker
games.
Mayfield is capable of. His offensive line took a big step back this year. It's definitely on him.
What
I'm
offensive
not,
line is Daniel Jones playing behind?
It's probably just as bad. Yeah, I agree. The Browns' offensive line was rated one of the worst lines in football this year. Yes, there's some blame to Baker. But, I mean, chirping the fan, like, the guy was, like, yelling at him. He just
Is
said
Tom Brady chirping
one little
fans?
thing. No one's chirping. I don't know.
No one's chirping Tom Brady?
Well, Tom Brady just is, yes, he's more business. He's done this for, 20 years. Yes, it's different. Baker's a young kid in the social media age, so it is different. Yes, he does have to get his act together a little bit, but it's also on the Browns. They got to get a coach that could coach the team. There's so many personalities, like Odell, Baker. Yes, they're big personalities, but Jarvis Landry, these guys need a good leader, a coach, and someone that could actually call some plays because Freddie was terrible.
You tell me none of this is on Baker Mayfield.
No, I just said there is some blame with him, but it's not all on him. I think that's out of proportion.
When you
everyone's
have
saying it's all on
guys on this team yelling to the other sidelines to come and get me. Come and save me from this team.
We don't know how true that is.
It's been reported multiple times from multiple teams.
Look at the culture of the Browns this year.
They were supposed to go to the Super Bowl.
No, well, that was just the media saying that.
Baker was on every commercial.
Okay, because he got paid to do them. And if you're going to get paid to do commercials, you do them. It's simple. You get money for doing nothing.
The only thing he has more than commercials is interceptions.
All right, well, let's look at the culture of the Browns this year. Let's look at Myles Garrett spiking a helmet on Mason Rudolph.
You're going to tell me none of that goes back to the guy who's supposed to be the leader of the team. You don't see anybody
He's
else.
a young kid.
I'm not pinning it on Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying it's all Baker. Of course it's not all Baker Mayfield. That'd be asinine to say. But the only thing that he it doesn't seem like the right leader for that team needs.
Look at when he was at Oklahoma, every guy that they asked that was on that roster said they adored the guy. He was such a great leader. And it's the personalities on the Browns. They just have too many personalities, and it's on the coach. They need a coach
He's not
that could
a professional quarterback.
I mean, that's what he has to live with. If he's going to have that attitude and carry himself that way, if he's winning, it's going to work. People are going to like it. His teammates are going to respect it. If you're losing and you still act like that, then it's not going to fly with a lot of these locker rooms.
What got him here was the whole chip on the shoulder thing, and he's keeping that up. But maybe it might have to switch because obviously it's not working with the 6 and 10 season.
Of course, it has to switch.
So I have no problem with self-confidence. Look, if you don't think you're the best at what you do, and you don't think you strive to be the best, then what are you doing? Playing the sport that you play. I have no problem with him believing that he's good, but just to believe that he's better than everybody else and that he can never do any wrong and that, all that he says is good. People like this, number one, in life just suck. On the field, when you have to be surrounded by other people, in a locker room, it's very important. Mm-hmm. And somebody like this just kills just everything about the team. And I don't really think it matters who the coach is. I mean, it might in terms of, telling this guy, hey, look, you got to cut it out. You got to keep your head down. Be low key. Just do your thing. Let your actions on the field, playing wise, do the talking, not whatever you say, not whatever you do off the field or to the fans. Because at the end of the day, it's all about winning a championship. It's all about winning the Super Bowl. And
that team wasn't built for it.
And if you're going to hype yourself up, obviously not. The team was not built for it. Him and Odell, they're two humongous cancers.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And they need a head coach in there who's going to light a fire under him, not with his mouth, not with the media, but with his play. And that's exactly what he didn't do this year because his play was disgusting, and it wasn't good, and it was terrible. It was terrible. He was not a good quarterback this year. He was not a good quarterback.
I think you can say this in any sport, right? They'll say that people who are very quiet, that guy has no personality. But you don't know how they are behind the scenes. So somebody like this who's very loud and out in the open, you got to imagine that he's like that behind the scenes too, and that might be a negative impact on all his other peers in the locker room.
Mm-hmm. The media just loves to hate Baker. They'd love to hate
You're
him.
telling me Baker doesn't invite the
Yes, it's a different trend.
Blood in the water for reporters.
You don't think there's going to be another guy like Baker Mayfield coming in the next 4 or 5 years?
Like
well, no, because
it hasn't worked.
This is a different age
right now, and there are guys who are better and well spoken with the media than Baker Mayfield is right now in college. Look at Trevor Lawrence.
I'll tell you what, if he was doing good, people would still hate him, but they would envy him. They would want to be this guy. Nobody wants to be Baker Mayfield. This guy is a loser. He's a bum. He's a bust. He's nothing.
He had one bad season. Yes, a bad season. And there was a lot of things that went wrong with the Browns this year. But going back to his rookie year, he was very good, and he was deserving of that number 1 pick in that rookie year, setting the all-time rookie passing touchdowns. That's a big accomplishment with only 13 games started. So don't give up on the guy yet. Let
Nobody's
another
giving up on him
coach
yet.
on. Yes.
But I'm saying if he doesn't change his attitude, then it's gonna be curtains for Baker Mayfield.
We'll see.
I
We'll
kind of
see.
hope he doesn't change his attitude. I can't say.
I mean, he can succeed with his attitude. He just needs a better team around him. He needs to play better.
Better
himself.
team around him.
He needs-
He's Odell Beckham
you're-
Jr., Jarvis Landry.
Okay, not many
David
quarterbacks are going to do
Njoku.
well, and that the offense that they had last year was just broken. It just didn't gel right. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a really bad season, but I mean, again, like Dan said, it's not all on him. I mean, the team around him has to get better, or no matter what.
It's
Even
a
if he
team
fixes
sport.
his attitude, if they had this shitty team around him, he's not going to do anything.
I'm saying this team didn't go because of him.
I
This
know.
offense didn't go because he had a bad season. Not saying Freddie Kitchens was Bill Belichick, but he was a better play caller. He proved he was a better play caller than he got credit for.
Well,
Freddie Kitchen should have been the offensive coordinator.
Well, maybe they do need a head coach kind of to just.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
You know what? It might not make that big of a difference, but it might because he might be like, look, young man, while I'm in charge, while this is my team,
This ain't happening.
this is not happening. I'll do all the talking. You talk after you have a good game. You talk whenever. Actually, you stand behind your locker if there's a good or bad game, but you still have the same
Demeanor. You
still
answer
have
the
the
questions.
same demeanor. You still
like
answer
that.
the questions.
And to end this segment, I just want to say that I think the Browns are looking at the offensive coordinator for the Ravens right now.
Greg Roman.
Yeah. So that should be a interesting hire.
Well, also Paul DePodesta, former New York Mets front office analytical guy, he's going to be handling the hiring process.
Yeah.
He
While-
won that power struggle with Dorsey.
But the last two people he's recommended that didn't get hired, I read the article, it was pretty interesting, was Sean McDermott, who
Yeah.
perfect coach
Yep.
for Cleveland right now if he was there,
Yep.
and Kevin Stefanski.
yeah, he wanted Stefanski.
He wants
last year
Stefanski
instead
bad.
of Kitchens.
And that's why it was such a power struggle. Dorsey won out, and Dorsey's out now.
I don't understand the whole Kevin Stefanski. I don't understand it, but
You don't understand the Stefanski fantasy?
sure.
That doesn't really rhyme.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on to the NFL wild card game predictions. We're here in Zonak's basement, going to tell you what teams are going to win this weekend.
I think we should name the show Zone X Basement. I think that's better than Before the Score.
I don't
You
think
came
so.
up with before this.
Yeah.
I know, but Zone X Basement.
So you're
just has that
walking
ring
it
to
back now. So I don't know about that.
So as you know, there's 2 Saturday games. So the first game is going to be the Bills, the 5 seed versus the Texans, 4 seed at home.
real quick before we get into that game,
Okay.
there's an interesting note in this game. This could be Booger McFarland's last game
Oh,
commentating.
man.
Thank God. Goodbye, Booger.
And I hope
Goodbye,
it's
Booger.
not. I hope maybe he'll start like a podcast if he gets fired.
Well,
'cause
I
would like
actually
to
I
see
have
him talk.
a great name for a Booger podcast. Booger Picks.
Booger, Booger. You should get in the naming business.
Oh my God.
All right.
Booger's Picks.
Well, yeah. Let's hope this ESPN crew could do a good job because everyone's going to be watching it. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, Bills Texans -3 at home team 4 seed. So anyone want to start?
I'm going to take the Bills in this game. The Bills are going to win close. Defense and run game travel. And the Bills have a good passing game to back it up, too. But defense and run game travel, they have a better defense. They have a better run game. Allen's going to play a good game. He's been hot recently. Houston gets the jitters in the playoffs. They always play these 4 o'clock Saturday games, and they get blown out. I don't think they're going to blown out. I think it'll be close, and I think the Bills win.
I mean, this is weird. The Texans are such a weird team to pick. They're a home team, but they don't really have like a really good home field advantage. Every time, if the Bills play any other division winner, I think I'd probably fade away from the Bills. But the Texans are just such an easy opponent for like a road team to go in and win a playoff game. So I like that defense that Buffalo has. I think Josh Allen makes enough plays where they win and cover that 3 points.
Like, when's the last time the Bills won a playoff game?
It got to be before 2000s. The last time they made the
90s.
playoffs before they lost the Jaguars was a long time ago. So
Yeah, exactly. And like it's been 20 some years, right? Like, so when looking at the quarterback matchup, Josh Allen versus Deshaun Watson, who's going to be more prepared for the big moment? I'm going Deshaun Watson. I got to lean that way. I don't trust Josh Allen enough yet. I do like his trajectory. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback in this league. But right now for this game, I'm going to take Houston -3 because I just trust Deshaun Watson more. And J.J. Watt coming back. I think that's a good story for that game, too.
I actually do have to agree with you, Dan. I just think the Bills just don't bring it this week. And it's not that the Bills aren't a good team, and obviously you talked about their defense and everything, but I just feel like Deshaun Watson does have the advantage, in terms of
Josh
quarterback. And he has kind of a little bit more experience, although not,
With the college scene, he's got the
Yeah.
more experience with the national
So,
championships. Yeah.
I do see them winning.
But it's not like Josh Allen didn't do anything in college.
Oh,
He
of
still played in
course.
big games.
Yeah.
And he had great big games the last couple months. He's beat
Yeah.
the Steelers on
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. He murdered the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And I think McDermott is a better head coach than Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien hasn't proved much in the playoffs. He hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
He just keeps getting contracts. He wins that crappy division.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson looked horrible in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. And when in big games, you see him disappear a little bit. Only big game, not in college, of course,
Yeah.
but in the NFL, since he's been here, the only game that he's really had a good game and a big game was the Patriots game.
Yeah, he was rushed into it. I mean, he's a really young guy, so
He is,
you
but
gotta
I'm
give
a
him the
big
time.
Deshaun Watson
Yeah.
fan. But I think that the Bills' offense can rival the Texans' offense as well, and I think the defense is much better than Texans' defense. And the run game it's no Carlos Hyde. Come on, the Texans can't. Matt,
Carlos
I know
Hyde's had a
Frank
good
Gore,
year,
but
though, this
Singletary's
year.
more explosive.
I don't know. Carlos Hyde has had a good year. I'd say I think Carlos Hyde this year was better
Yeah,
than
but the Bills are
Singletary.
better
But
aligned than the Texans. I think the Bills win the game in the trenches, and the Bills win close.
yeah, it's gonna be.
gonna be a
The
good
Bills,
game, though.
I think, on a neutral site. Yeah, I think they win. I'm not saying the Texans have that big of a home field advantage, but going from Buffalo to Houston's always a factor and everything. But
Of
like I
course.
said, Deshaun Watson has a good game this week.
I think he will too.
All right, next game we got at the 8:15 slot on CBS is the Titans, the 5 seed taking on the 6 seed taking on the Patriots, the 3 seed in Foxborough. 5-point favorites.
All right, I'll take this one first. Patriots lost to the Dolphins last week.
Yep.
Titans are hot. They are hot. Speaking of the Dolphins, Tannehill used to play there, of course. He's used to playing in New England. He knows what it takes to win there. He's played there countless times. The Titans have all the momentum. The Titans are well coached. Mike Vrabel will have them ready. The Patriots are on the downturn. Derrick Henry, the Titans are going to follow Derrick Henry to the promised land. The Titans are going to go into New England and beat the Patriots.
It's scary because the Patriots they don't look good right now, and Derrick Henry is playing unstoppable.
Derrick Henry's
football right now. You
playing
can't stop the man right
unconscious.
now. It's crazy what he's doing right now. So I mean, they have the perfect formula to go into Foxborough in a playoff game and win. If they run the ball with Derrick Henry, if they establish the run game, they can win this game. It won't be easy. It's really tough to beat anytime you play in New England in the playoffs. I just can't pick the Titans to win on the road. I can't see the Patriots losing in the first round of the playoffs at home against the Titans, a 6 seed. I don't see it. Give me the Patriots.
If this was the divisional round, I would have no qualms about picking the Patriots. But wild card round, anything can happen in New
I know,
England.
it gets wacky.
Anything.
Yeah, the Titans have been playing some great football lately. Other than last week, I mean, they played the Texans, who benched everyone. They already had the division locked up and everything, so they blew them out, but that really didn't count, I guess.
But even then, Derrick Henry still ran for
Yeah,
200 yards.
I mean, on second strings, I guess. But this is Foxborough. This is January football. This is Bill Belichick. This is Tom Brady. This is Danny D's lock of the week.
You gotta be.
This is the
kidding me.
Patriots -5.
I'm going against
Bill-
Danny D's lock of
Yeah.
the week 2 weeks in a row.
Danny D's lock of the week, 2-0 so far. Eagles were a lock last week. Patriots are a lock this week. With Tom Brady, Bill Belichick in Foxborough, at home, in January, playoffs, give me all of that. The Titans are an unproven team. Yes, they've had some good weeks in the regular season, but not against great opponents. The Patriots, yes, coming off a loss against Miami, that should put a spark under their butts after last week, after that terrible showing at home. Bill Belichick is probably on these guys screaming right now to get them ready for this game. I know Tom Brady's on the downswing. I know last week I said the Patriots are the dynasty's over, but not this week. The dynasty's not over this week. Give me the Patriots -5.
Hold on real quick before Pablo picks. Answer these questions for me. Which team has a better quarterback? Which team has a better quarterback? You know what the answer is. It's not
in the
Pop-
playoffs, Tom Brady.
Who has
in the playoffs,
for this season right now? Who's the
I
better
mean,
quarterback?
Tannehill had a
Regular-
better statistical
Who's the better
year.
running back?
Derrick Henry, easily.
Who's the better? Who has better weapons?
It doesn't matter. It goes to coaching. Coaching and an
Mike Vrabel's
experienced
not no
quarterback.
slouch.
He's not Bill
AJ
Belichick.
Brown. AJ Brown is
I
amazing.
love the Titans' offense. I love the pieces they have. They have a really
and their
good young
defense
core.
isn't too far
but I
behind the
mean,
Patriots' defense. They have a great defense. They got a lot of former Patriots who take this game personal. You got Deion Lewis. You got the kid from Rutgers, Logan Ryan.
Yeah.
That team is pissed off at the
And
Patriots.
Vrabel, of course.
Yeah, and Vrabel.
I'm not buying
Vrabel
it.
might be the best motivating head coach in the league.
I'm not buying that. Either.
Not buying it yet. I think New England, there's no way they lose this game.
No way. I think
I can't
Neutral
see
field,
it.
I might pick the Titans.
I think
don't know.
Titans
This is
is
such a big
Foxborough.
home field advantage.
Foxborough
this
at
is
night.
going to be the shock of the year.
I don't think
the
Ten-
Titans are going to beat the Patriots.
I don't think Tennessee's ready for this game.
Let's hear this, Pablo. Let's hear what you got to say.
All right, number one. What's rule number one of before the score?
You tell me. I don't know.
idea.
You never count out Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
I thought that was rule number 2.
No, that's rule number one.
Okay.
All right, so you never count them out.
All right, thanks.
This team, they were completely embarrassed by the Miami Dolphins last week. And to be honest, I think the Patriots were kind of this, it's the Dolphins, let's take it easy. But you want to know what's going to happen this week.
Let's hear it.
All right, this is exactly what Bill Belichick said. All right, he's in the locker
Do
room.
it in his voice.
Yeah, Bill. Let's hear the Bill Belichick impression.
All right, so you see what we had to go against last week. We had the Miami Dolphins, the no talent, the scrub Miami Dolphins. Unbelievable. You let them beat you. You let them beat us and our home turf. And our home turf. Well, I'm going to tell you what, brother.
Wait. Who's the head coach here? Bill Belichick or Hulk Hogan? Who's coaching the Patriots?
Well, I'll tell you what. Behind the scenes, Bill Belichick is Hulk Hogan. That's a bold statement.
Okay.
I
Oh
don't
wait.
know what-
Hold on.
okay.
I'm cutting it. Who's the pick here?
Just get to the pick, please.
All right, let me finish.
Okay.
You guys are going to win. You're going to go in there and you're going to completely embarrass another team because you are Tom Brady, you are the New England Patriots, and we will not be denied. This year, more than any other year, actually, this year, more than any other year, we have been kind of overlooked. You guys aren't going to win, but we are the defending champions.
It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. This team is going to win, and they're going to completely embarrass the competition. And when you talk about locks of the week, that it is a lock on the rest of the season because the New England Patriots...
Don't spoil anything now.
All right. Well, the New England Patriots are going to be very tough because once this time of the year rolls around and once Tom Brady gets on that roll, it's over.
Thank you, Pablo. I think I love how you love my locks.
I think
You-
I
you've
love
al-
the Hulk
you've-
Hogan impression.
You've always gone with my locks our last couple weeks, and I'm very happy you
Yeah,
did.
but you went against me with the Jaguars last week, which I don't like because
Well,
I
that
told you
was
what was
that
gonna
was in
happen.
honor of Andrew.
That was our dead club.
And we never shook on that bet. Otherwise,
I know.
You know what was it? $100?
Yeah,
$100?
$100.
man.
Thank God I didn't. But the last thing I want to say about this game is this is the Patriots' only home game in the playoffs.
I don't know
That's
that though. If
probably.
the Bills going a little run.
I don't know. Probably. I just see it as this is probably going to be the Patriots' only home game.
I would say so. Yes.
So
where's the Super Bowl?
that
Where's the
that
Super Bowl
that in itself
Miami.
that in itself should mean something to this team because they want to. I mean, the fans are going to be going nuts. It's going to be a crazy environment. That's why Danny D's lock of the week is the Patriots -5. And moving on to Sunday on Fox.
The rematch.
The rematch of the 2017, I believe,
Yeah. 26.
NFC Championship or NFC Divisional game.
The Minneapolis Miracle.
Yep. The Minnesota Vikings, my Minnesota Vikings, go to New Orleans to take on the Saints, and the Saints are 7.5-point favorites.
All right, Dan, you're gonna like me again right now.
Mhm.
The Minnesota Vikings have no chance in this game. This game will not be close. The Saints will come out guns a-blazing. Breeze is on a revenge tour this year. They may not win the Super Bowl, but they're not going to lose this game. The Saints are going to win. The Saints are going to cover. The Saints are the better team. Kirk Cousins, he's scared of the moment. That's the only explanation I have for Kirk Cousins. He's scared of the moment, and they're going to get their asses handed to him on Sunday.
So I thought I loved all that talk where it was like, oh, this team has no chance. Going back to the Oklahoma LSU game, I'm like, oh, man, I want everyone to say Oklahoma has no chance. Feed this team.
They'll
Feed
come out, they'll
Jalen
win,
Hurts.
they'll prove everybody
Yes, they're
wrong.
going to come out. They're going to play great, man. Like, I'm so excited. Wow. Like, maybe, I don't know what to do here. I mean,
Oh,
of
it
course,
stings when it doesn't
to the
go
day
your
I
way.
die, I'm going to root for the Vikings. But I don't like this matchup at all one bit. I mean, I really wanted the Seahawks to pull that game out so we wouldn't have to go to New Orleans. I would rather play the 49ers, to be honest. Or to play the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no,
play the,
easily,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Seattle because we already went there this year. And it was
You almost beat them.
Yeah, almost beat them. New Orleans is the one team of the NFC teams I really think the Vikings really doesn't have a shot against on their home field. And like last week with the whole Oklahoma thing covering, I'll take the Vikings to cover. I'll take the Vikings to cover.
That's
I
just
mean,
the fan in you talking.
I know I have to. I mean, like I think the Saints. The Saints are gonna win this game, and just please, Vikings, don't make it a blowout. Don't give me 2 weeks in a row where my favorite teams just get blown out and embarrassed on the national stage. Just my God, I hope Kirk Cousins has a good game.
Is Cook playing?
Yes, Dalvin Cook's gonna play.
I can see a scenario where the Vikings sneak out a victory if their offense gets rolling and they run the ball, but I can't do it. I mean, I think the Saints are pissed off after last year. They got screwed out of a Super Bowl appearance.
Well, really, if you think about it, the Saints could be 2-time Super Bowl champions because they
could
lost
be,
on
I
a
know.
fluky play and they lost on a ref call.
Lost on a fluky play in Minnesota. They got screwed last year.
by the
They're playing
refs.
unreal football right now. They're playing the best football of any team in the NFL. So I mean, at home they have to win this. They have to win this game. So I think they win big.
Yeah, because Drew Brees ain't getting any younger. So
No,
this
is they need to win this.
this
year.
is the year the
And that's what
Saints
he knows
really
it,
need to
too.
He
win.
knows it. Yeah, they need to win.
This is a very important game for
It's
the New
insane
Orleans
because he
Saints.
might be playing better than he's ever played in his career right now, too.
Well, Drew Brees, I've said it on the show many times. He's like a fine wine. He gets old. He gets better with the age. So I do think that the Saints. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout, but the Saints, they're going to win this week.
So the Vikings cover.
Vikings cover, but you want to know what? It wouldn't surprise me if the Vikings do sneak out a victory, just like Andrew said. But
Well, wait, what do the Vikings need to do to sneak out a victory? I think that they would have to completely rely on Dalvin Cook and hope he has a crazy good game.
The defense has to step up.
Of course, the
they have
defense too,
playmakers
yeah.
in that defense. If Kirk Cousins doesn't lose them the game, if he plays well enough to keep them in the game and they run the ball really well with Cook, they can squeak out a victory. The Saints have lost to some pretty questionable teams.
Well,
over
I
the
think
years.
that the Atlanta Falcons laid out the exact blueprint to beat the Saints, and I don't know if that the Vikings offense can really compete with that. They need the receivers to win on the outside against those great cornerbacks. They need to target Eli Apple and Janoris Jenkins, two people I know a little too much about. So that's what and the Vikings have matched up with Janoris Jenkins earlier in the season, so they know what it takes to beat him on the outside.
I mean, we've seen it time and again this season. There's a reason the Vikings went 10-6, and Kirk Cousins was a great game manager this year. And the best games they played was when they just had the time of possession, they controlled the line of scrimmage, and they ran Dalvin Cook. And that's what it's got to be, because the blueprint of the Vikings offense, which I'll give Stefanski credit for, and I think it's more on Zimmer because he wants to instill this, is getting the defense, the opposing defense, to be scared of the run. Constantly running it with Dalvin Cook, and then getting Kirk Cousins in space on bootlegs, like getting out wide and making plays. That is the perfect offense that I want to see from the Vikings. But like you said, that defense does need to step up, because if it doesn't go that way, if it goes where the Saints have all the time of possession, the defense really needs to step up. And I'm talking to you, Xavier Rhodes. You need to step up.
Xavier Rhodes pending free agent as well, so he's going to be looking to have a big game to try to. He's had such a bad season this year. That could all go away if he has a game-changing performance in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the 4 o'clock game.
Yeah, 4:40, weird
Yeah.
time slot, but we'll take it. On NBC, the Seahawks travel to Philadelphia, and Seattle is a 1.5-point favorites against the NFC East champions.
Now, that spread's interesting because it says that Seattle is the favorite. Well, they're the favorite, but favored
better
by a lot.
team,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course. But Philly has a lot of momentum, and Philly has a good team. A lot of people don't realize how good their team is, and this little kid Boston Scott looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Pissing
you would
me
know,
off,
yeah.
running for like 200 yards on us in 2 weeks. But Philly hasn't really played anybody over the last month. They beat the Giants twice, and the Giants could have beat them both times.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Redskins on a last-second touchdown. They beat the Cowboys, and we all know how that works out with the Cowboys this year. But Seattle also plays really well in close games, and I know that their margin of victory is ridiculously close for a really good team. I think this will be a close game as well, but I think Seattle has just enough to get the job done. They win a close game again. Maybe even like a last-second field goal I can see happening. I pray to God Seattle wins this game because I can't watch the Eagles go on a little run again.
Yeah, last week when I was watching that game, obviously, watching Danny D's Lock of the Week hit, obviously, they showed up on the screen all of the Eagles' injured players, and it is insane the amount of players that are injured for that team, like on IR or were out for the game, and that just scares me. I know Seattle has had their injuries, especially at the running back position, but Marshawn Lynch didn't look too bad in that game against the 49ers. His yards per carry wasn't great, but that's not what they really brought him in for. They want him to get
also
the first downs and touchdowns.
Kid Homer looked pretty good.
Yeah, Homer did look good. Yeah. So going to that, this is definitely going to be a close game. You're definitely right because the Seahawks have only played close games.
And they don't blow anybody out. And if you go back a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, Seattle and Philly, the same game happened in Philly, and it was a really close game, and the Eagles could have won that game.
Yeah.
And I think that's what scares me about it, because it's tough to beat a team twice in a year.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz has been playing great lately, and you got to give him credit for that. But I just don't think there's enough pieces with the Eagles. They're just so injured, and I just can't take that big of an injured team into the playoffs. I'm going to take Seattle -1.5.
I think this is such a great game. This is the prime game of the week. I think it's the best matchup of the week. It's so weird because Seattle is such a good road team. They're one of the best road teams in football, and Philly is one of the best home teams in football. This is Carson Wentz's first playoff game, so it's really going to tell a lot about him. This is my dead club of the week, the Seattle Seahawks. I think they go into Philly. I think they get killed. That Philly home field advantage is insane. They're playing inspired football right now. Doug Peterson has been built for these big games. He always steps up in these big games. The Eagles never get blown out in these big games. They'll keep it close. I think they run the ball with Boston Scott. I think that defense plays lights out at home. That defense has been amazing at home this whole year. They were last time they made the playoffs. Last time they had a home game in the playoffs. The Eagles are going to win this game.
I don't know how much we can trust your dead clubs, considering your pick. Your
I'm a
dead
little
club
cold right now. I need this game.
He's facing your old dead club.
I
the dead
previously
club bowl
killed
here.
the Eagles, but they proved me wrong, and that says a lot about them. If they can prove me wrong, then they're going to win this game.
So you revive the Eagles, and you take that dead club and you put it on their opponent.
They're back from the dead. They're taking that energy, and they're using it to kill the Seahawks.
I just got
Interesting.
2 words for you. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Speaking of Russell Wilson, we got a resident Seahawk fan. I don't know if he's going to like that you called it a dead club, though.
Well, thank you guys, and I really don't like that you call them a dead club and that you harass my team, my livelihood, my quarterback, my teammate. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel good about this game. I don't think there's any way that the Eagles are gonna lose. The Eagles, they're a very hot team right now. They're at home. They're very dominant at home, and they just seem to rise to the occasion. And they're going to bring it this week. And the Eagles, they're going to ride this. They're going to ride this. I think they're in it for the long haul in this postseason.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Which of these 4 games do you think is going to be the most exciting and most fun to watch?
I think that the Titans game is going to be the most exciting. Honestly, I think that game will be close, and people are going to be shocked when the Patriots lose that game. In terms of not picking it and just like, I think the Titans are going to win, so I think that'll be exciting. Patriots lose, and obviously it's not as exciting. I think Seahawks-Eagles has a chance to be the most exciting because those are 2 most evenly matched teams.
I think that's the most even. I think that's the best matchup on the board. I think the most probably high scoring and exciting is probably the Saints game because those are 2 really good
Most
offenses
definitely,
in the dome. I think there'll be a lot of points scored in that game. But I think the best pure football game will be the Eagles and the Seahawks.
Yeah, we've seen the Saints. Yes, they have a great defense, but against the Niners coming in, I know the Niners are probably a better team than the Vikings, but they put, I think, 48 points on the board. So in terms of watchability, I think this Vikings-Saints game is going to be a fun game to watch because the offense is going to be very high-powered.
Yeah, I think that all these games are interesting matchups, too. It's not like your normal, like I remember like a couple years ago, you had Bengals-Texans on Saturday.
These are all
afternoon.
really good games.
So these are all good, different matchups.
Yeah.
That haven't been seen in a while with the Bills, the Titans going to New England. I know that happened in the divisional round a couple years ago, but this is a new Titans team. So I'm excited for these games.
I'm super excited. It's sports. It's a big game. It's a big moment. This is where we're going to see what guys have and what guys don't.
Who's going to step up?
And who's going to step up. And Tom Brady, I'm telling you guys, you might think that his team is dead. I'm surprised that wasn't your dead team of the week.
Picked him to win.
But the Patriots, don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them.
Anything else you want to add for Wild Card Weekend or the NFL in general?
Skull Vikes.
I can't agree with that. But let's move on from football. We got your questions coming up later in the show. But real quick before that, we got to touch on something that happened on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, God.
One of the most interesting segments in a long time.
Whoa. Go back. Interesting segments. Steve, I'm going to stop you right there. I don't give a damn about Bobby Lashley. I don't care about Lana. Spell her name backwards. I'm not going to do it on the air because of the censors. Lana, I don't care about her. I don't care about Rusev. I don't care about the cake. I don't care about the surprise return. I don't care about anybody who was involved. The biggest and most interesting part of that whole segment was the priest, bro. He was hilarious.
Priest was fantastic.
He was funny.
Whoever got that priest, he deserves
know.
a raise. He deserves a spot in the company. I actually like the segment. Besides Liv Morgan being involved, because I was disappointed she's not Sister Abigail, or at least something better than Lana's lesbian lover. But besides that, I was actually pretty entertained by it. Having Bobby Lashley's ex-wife come out, Lana's ex-husband come out, obviously not real life, and then Rusev pop out of the cake.
Steve, how much longer can they drag out this storyline?
It does need to end soon.
Needs to end soon. It should have never been a thing.
They gotta get to the payoff.
I can't take something serious when you talk about kayfabe and you talk about how I said I don't like the Charlotte and Andrade thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how they're a couple in real life, but on TV they're in a
I don't even know what to call
in
it.
a divorce,
Whatever
you want to call it, a breakup, weird BBC.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to call it, but I just cannot take this whole storyline serious. And when you look at their return,
Well, Rusev, honestly, besides the Rusev Day stuff, he's never been hotter right now. He looks like $1 million.
I don't think so.
I
Steve.
think so.
I don't think so, Steve.
All right, so how would you pay off this storyline?
How would I pay it off?
Yeah, what would you do?
I'll tell you right now, I would never talk about it again.
You just end it?
Leave it in 2019. I'm not even kidding. I don't care for anybody.
Well, honestly, I thought this would be a funny idea, and CM Punk alluded to it on WWE Backstage. Picture this. Lashley gets fed up. He's done. He doesn't want to be with Lana anymore. Rusev, he's already divorced. He doesn't care anymore. They create a tag team. And then at WrestleMania, they win the tag team titles. Tell me that wouldn't be amazing. They end up becoming closer because of it. Because they both hate the same woman.
I think this pen right here, I'm going to hold it up to the camera so the camera can see it. This pen has more personality than Bobby Lashley. That dude is a complete scrub. He's a waste of time. He sucks in the ring. He has no neck. He can't move. I don't want.
I'm not gonna lie. Throughout this entire storyline, he has been kind of entertaining.
He's not entertaining.
He has made me laugh a little bit.
He's really not. I mean.
Well, if you maybe bring back Leo Rush for a single, he was good with Leo Rush.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't bad with Leo Rush. Come on.
Look, he can't go in the ring. He has no personality. Leo Rush only made him look worse because, to me, on WWE TV, Leo Rush was just so annoying. He was so rushed.
But he was a heel.
No pun intended. He was just
rushed.
No. His mic skills were just over the top. And when you look at Lana, bro, what's the deal with her bad acting skills?
But I honestly think that makes them hate her more. You can see she gets so much heat just from the way she's like Vicky Guerrero level heat. She's at that level right now.
She's not at that level.
Get off my TV.
I don't think she is at that level. I think the storyline is that bad where the fans are like, "Oh my god!"
But it's working. Then it's not any
working.
reaction is a good reaction.
What are they setting up to?
Hopefully, I hope the tag team. But honestly, that brings us to a question we got from PK Patel: Bobby Lashley versus Rusev at Mania.
I'm not booking that.
I hope not because I don't know.
It can't
That's
go on,
3
it
more
can't go on
months
for that much longer.
It has to be done at Royal Rumble.
To be honest, I'm not even having it on the Royal Rumble.
You got paid off somehow.
I'm ending it on Raw.
Hopefully, you end it at the Royal Rumble with a street fight or something. End it graciously, and then they can both move on to WrestleMania programs, whatever that may
But
be.
this is not a wrestling storyline. This is something.
It's like a soap opera.
This is soap opera, total divas crap.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I was. Can I say I was just embarrassed to watch that show the other night?
honestly, I thought it was so ridiculous and over the top. It was kind of funny.
It wasn't funny. The Aleister Black Buddy Murphy match
Was fantastic.
Absolutely should have main evented that show.
Those two. In the ring
they
together
always talk
involved.
about not having stars and there's nobody who we can really build around. But they have the best talent in the world.
Mhm.
They have a better roster than NXT. They have a better roster than AEW. These guys have all these superstars and all these performers at their fingertips, and they just choose certain guys to put over and certain guys to just bury. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, before we end the wrestling, what is your big prediction for WWE or wrestling in general in 2020?
My big prediction for wrestling in general. Well, Steve, I think that
What?
I think that with the AEW effect and the fact that AEW is on Wednesdays, and I think AEW eventually.
This year, 2020. I don't think they're going to pass WWE yet.
No.
If at all.
Actually, I'm going to take that back. I think eventually we start seeing more NXT stars on Raw and SmackDown. I just think, especially when you look at the Survivor Series, NXT guys, they were performing on Monday night, Tuesday, on Wednesday night, Friday night, and that's just something they're just going to abuse. And having guys like Randy Orton and AJ Styles and Seth Rollins on NXT and so on, they're just going to do whatever they can to have a higher rating than AEW.
Well, my big prediction has to do more with my wrestler of the decade, and that's Daniel Bryan, who is still the best wrestler in that company, best entertainer in that company. You see him reinvent himself over and over and over again, and I think he'll be the one to eventually beat the Fiend. I think that's my big prediction. Sometime in 2020. I can't. I don't know if it's gonna happen at WrestleMania
You
or
want to know
not.
what's going to happen?
You think it's gonna be Reigns?
Yeah. This storyline, I don't see it passing Royal Rumble. I think it's actually squashed for right now.
I just don't get it because this is a storyline they could pull out for main event any WrestleMania, the Return of the Yes movement.
Yeah, they could, but didn't they already fight?
They fought. Well, he kind of like interfered in the match with the Miz, and now they're having a match at Royal Rumble. So I hope that eventually.
They should have kind of like dragged it out.
I agree.
So I don't know. I mean, when you look back at their match a few years ago at Royal Rumble,
amazing.
That's Bray Wyatt's best match he's ever had, and I don't think that Bryan beats him, and I think he beats him later on this year. But the person who's going to end this guy's undefeated streak is going to be Roman Reigns. Bro, they feed everybody to Roman, and the Fiend is going to be no different.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But real quick, before we get to our questions, I just want to say rest in peace to David Stern, who died today at 77.
Yeah.
30 years as commissioner, grew the league. One of the most important people in sports history, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the NBA. I mean, when it was the Magic, Bird, Jordan era, and that was ending, people kind of questioned the NBA of where it was going to go. And Stern just made the NBA into, I mean, pretty much the second biggest sport. Yeah, like second biggest sport, I'd say. And also a Rutgers alumni. So, I mean, he put a great face for the school.
And he
so
set,
I'm very happy
he set the
about that.
NBA up for sustained success.
Oh, yeah.
Now Silver, his job is much easier because of David Stern.
Yeah, one of the greatest commissioners in professional sports history.
So you guys want to do the questions now?
Yeah, let's
before we
get
end
to
the
it.
show?
Let's start it off.
First question we got today was from Bobby Krepek, and he wants. We'll keep it on the wrestling level for the first question. He wants to know if Jon Moxley will join the Inner Circle?
That's a good question, Bobby, and thank you for your continued support. I don't really think now is the right time for a guy like Moxley to be joining the Inner Circle. This guy, you have to just keep building him up, keep building him as this monster. And you want to know what? If he eventually joins, it wouldn't be of any surprise to me. But in terms of right now, he is AEW's version of Brock Lesnar. This guy he's a monster right now, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, Moxley's whole gimmick right now is just a lone wolf, doesn't care about anybody but himself. So I just really can't see him being with a stable right now. Although it would be interesting to have him in the Inner Circle, I think that's a storyline you can save for way down the road.
Well, who do you think is the weakest member of the Inner Circle?
I hate Sammy Guevara, or however you say his
Sammy
last
Guevara?
name. He's a good wrestler, but I hate the panda hat and his gimmick. I'm not a big fan of his. Jack Swagger has actually been doing a lot better. Jake Hagar. But we all know his name is Jack Swagger. And I think he's been really good as a muscle. And, of course, Jericho has been awesome.
Isn't Jack Swagger the
MMA?
Yeah, he still does
AEW.
No, isn't that the name in the Shooter movie? In Shooter, isn't that like the guy it's based on, Jack Swagger?
I've never seen the movie.
No, you never seen it? Oh
No.
yeah, with Mark Wahlberg, he's Jack Swagger. That's
Zonak,
pretty
get us
funny.
a fact check on that.
I didn't know that.
Fact check on that.
Shooter movie.
I'm just throwing some movie trivia in for you, but that's
Well,
the name of Mark Wahlberg's character in
interesting.
Shooter.
Well, number one, the Inner Circle. I think they're a complete dominant team. I absolutely love LAX, Santana and Ortiz. They are amazing, bro.
They've been an awesome tag team in AEW. AEW has done
in
an
my
amazing
opinion-
job with tag teams.
in
general.
They have the best tag teams in the entire world, but in my opinion, I think Santana and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, are the most talented tag team in the entire business.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, they're that good.
You see, I actually like. I know maybe they're not the most talented, but Private Party has really been the breakout stars. Of
I do
AEW.
like Private Party.
Yeah.
I do like Private Party.
And they are very interesting with the people they hang out with outside WWE. I saw the picture of them with Bailey and those and the top people in WWE.
Well, Private Party, and what's that team from Monday Night Raw?
I don't know. You're gonna have to be more specific than that.
Well,
Street Profits.
Street Profits.
I love the Street Profits too, but they're like the same exact thing.
I think they are the same exact thing. But something like the Street Profits could very well be just like Private Party if they were taken seriously.
And the Street Profits are they're good. Montez Ford is awesome on the mic. Angelo Dawkins comes off as a little corny sometimes, but he's still the big muscle in the.
Well, that's the thing. Everything is so rehearsed on Raw and SmackDown. So
It's Bob Lee Swagger. I just remember.
Bob Lee Swagger.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bob Lee Swagger.
got Swagger right.
Yeah.
that's
not it.
You don't look like
That's
Jack
a
Swagger.
TV series. It's
Thanks,
not the
Zonak.
movie. There's a TV series and a movie. But yeah, Bob Lee Swagger.
Swagless
Go ahead
Swagger.
into the questions.
All right, next question comes from Jake Mason, and I think we might all have the same answer here. But thoughts on where Joe Burrow is going to land on in the draft?
Number one,
Number
Cincinnati Bengals.
They need a quarterback. Joe Burrow is easily the best quarterback in the draft, so he's gonna go number
Perfect
And
fit.
Ohio
He's the
kid.
perfect fit for Zach Taylor in that offense.
Ohio kid. This is Zach Taylor's legacy.
He's gonna hang
based
his hat on
this,
this
but
pick,
still.
and his coaching career depends on. What
We don't
Joe
know
Burrow
how good of a
does.
head coach he is, but he's getting an absolute stud. A guy I would call one of the best quarterback prospects I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
What a season he's had. Amazing.
That's my Pablo Power player of this decade.
So far.
So far.
We're one day in. That might change as
He
we
has 0
move
games
on.
played in 2020.
Exactly.
We'll revisit that in 2029. Who knows? You might be right.
That might be.
He wins the Bengals a Super Bowl. He could be the player
We
of the
might have 4
decade.
kids by 2029. I don't even want to go that far ahead. I'm nervous.
4 kids. That's like a kid every 2 years. Well, speaking of the decade, Mikey Ferro wants to know one bold prediction for any sport in 2020.
All right, I'll start it off because we were kind of just talking about it a little bit. I think the Bengals are a borderline wild card team next year. I think
Really?
it's kind of crazy to say, but this is bold. And you know who they're going to compete for that 6th seed? The New England Patriots, because the Bills are going to win the division. The Patriots dynasty is over, like I've been saying. I hate to contradict myself with my lock of the week. Completely 2 separate things. But the Bengals are going to be competing for that 6th seed with the New England Patriots.
Interesting. If they get Joe Burrow, that's a very interesting pick. They're gonna have an easier schedule, so
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Bold prediction for 2020. Going over to baseball, I think there's a new division winner, a new fresh face in the MLB playoffs. I say the Angels win the AL West over the Astros.
Whoa. Wait.
This is bold predictions,
I know it's a bold
Pablo.
prediction, bro. They have no pitching at all. No
we go.
pitching at all.
They'll ride that offense. Rendon, Trout.
That's not enough.
It's dirty.
That's not.
Okay, that's why it's a bold prediction.
Even their offense, aside from that monster 3-4, their offense is really not
We'll
that
see.
good.
We'll see.
All right, my bold prediction. I'm gonna go away from the 4 major sports to be a little different. I think Conor McGregor is gonna win a UFC championship this year. He'll get a rematch with Khabib. I hope it's for the lightweight championship and he wins that. I could see him just trying to get a championship in some capacity. He doesn't need the championship. He's above the championship in the UFC and the UFC. But I think that he needs to prove to himself that he can still do it, and I think he'll win a championship.
Yeah,
this year.
that is a bold prediction. I'll give you that because with Khabib, he wants to retire soon, and it's no question that what he's done against Conor, first fight and 27-0, which is ridiculous. But yeah, that fight against Cerrone is kind of just to get the rust off of him.
Yeah.
I think they don't want to throw him to the dogs again. And McGregor, the key to that to become true is he needs to fight 3 times this year. He needs to be active. When he was active at his peak,
He was the best in the sport.
he was the best in the sport and one of the greatest of all time. With that featherweight run, there's unquestionably he was the greatest featherweight we've ever seen. And yes, to get back to that championship pedigree, he's going to need a couple fights in this next new year.
Do you think he would go after the lightweight title or the featherweight title?
I think he's done with featherweight. He does say
agree.
he wants featherweight, but I think he's done. And
Well,
there
also,
has been talks
The
of
Vulcan fight just doesn't. It's not a money fight.
Yeah, Max Holloway's going to get another fight at Volkanovski. So I think that 145, the weight cut, he looks terrible at weight cut or with that weight cut. 155, yes, with the Khabib fight, that is definitely probably the biggest. That's
That
probably
would
going to
probably
happen.
break the pay-per-view record.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened after the fight.
Yeah.
That supersedes what happened in the fight,
of course.
honestly.
And yeah, that's probably the most likely fight that would happen, but he needs to win a couple fights for that to happen. But don't sleep on 170, the 170 title. He's fought a couple times with Nate Diaz at 170. if something were to happen, someone gets pulled from a card and he's ready for it. I mean, he doesn't want to do this weight cut anymore. Like, we've seen it time and time again with these last couple fights. I think it's time for him to move up if he is comfortable with Cerrone, because that fight is at welterweight at 170. So we'll see.
Well, let's make a scenario. Would you count my prediction to come true if he beats Jorge Masvidal for the bad motherfucker championship?
Oh man, I don't like that matchup at all for him. Jorge is.
I think it's a terrible matchup, but it would be a great money.
If
fight.
he were to win that fight, that is a huge thing for his legacy that's already been cemented. And yeah, I mean, if he were to go to 170 and beat Masvidal, I wouldn't count him out against anyone, because that is an amazing win. One of the best wins you could have in the UFC right now.
And I'm also very excited for McGregor Cerrone in 2 weeks. We'll have our predictions on that. I think the show in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's the 21st, if I'm not wrong.
And of course, Khabib versus Ferguson, which hopefully will happen, but that will be an amazing
Man,
fight.
like, I want to buy tickets to that fight, but this is the 5th time. They've never fought before, and this is the 5th time they made this fight.
And
They've,
but
4 fights that they've
if they can
had
get
has
to the
never
dance,
happened.
If they can get to the dance, that's one of the best matchups in like history.
We've been waiting. Oh my God, UFC fans have been waiting for this for so long, and I cross my fingers. I want to buy tickets, so I mean, it might be more expensive than UFC at MSG with Masvidal and Diaz. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll touch on that more as news comes out. But let's get to Pablo's prediction for 2020.
All right. So for my prediction in 2020, bold prediction, Garrett Cole will be your most valuable player in 2020.
Jeez, that is bold.
That's bold. You know, we've seen it in the past with Clayton Kershaw and Justin Verlander. But Garrett Cole, he's this guy. He's going to come and he's going to grab New York and the opportunity by the balls. And I see this guy winning 22 to 23 games, having an ERA around 2.1, a little bit under 2, I hope. And I think he's just going to do what he did last year in Houston, over 300 strikeouts. And I just think he's going to be by far the best in his category, you know, in Major League Baseball. And I just think that a guy like Garrett Cole, he's just going to make every other player around him better, and that's why he's going to be your most valuable player.
I would like to make a bet with you right now, if
Yes.
you were up for it. I'd say $100, and I'll shake on it right now.
$100?
Yeah, I'd say $100. I say Jacob deGrom, and pretty much we'll say, I don't know how we'll determine this, but Jacob deGrom will be a better pitcher than Garrett Cole next year.
$100. What's better pitcher?
Wins, I'd say, is not a factor in it.
No.
But
'Cause
if you're looking
DeGrom
at-
were on a real team, he'd have close to 20 wins.
Yes, so I'm talking about the major stats.
Before we move on to that, did you hear that little subtle dig he had?
No, it's true.
DeGrom, real team.
A real team that actually
Last year they were
Bro,
pretty good.
Bro, I don't think you can consider yourself, a good team when you have the best pitcher on the planet and the guy can barely get 10 wins.
All right, well, let's hear how we're going to stake this bet.
Okay, so.
not-
Okay.
so
I
not
mean,
in
like,
wins.
well, not in wins, but you got to look at the major categories like ERA. I mean, people don't like the ERA stat like
ERA,
Andrew.
well, how about
strikeouts,
this?
I think it's
K
a
per
little
9.
overblown.
How
Strike-
about this? You take 7 categories, and
Here we
whoever
go.
leads in those categories, you get a check mark, and whoever has the
Whoever
most.
leads
out of
in
the
the
seven.
majority.
Yeah.
But let's say Garrett Cole wins MVP. That's automatic win. Is that an automatic win?
Well, you could do a point system.
Obvious, yes. If Garrett Cole
Yeah.
wins MVP,
Then he
yes,
should-
he's the
he'll
best
have
pitcher
better
in baseball.
stats, yeah.
Okay.
And-
I just had to clarify that.
And
Yes.
also, if a guy gets injured, though, then
Yes, if a guy
the
gets injured, the
we can
bet's
call
off.
the bet off.
Okay.
I'd say for more than a month.
You wanna
if the
shake?
guy's injured. Yeah, I'll shake.
Let's shake.
We'll do it off the air. We'll figure out all the categories.
Get it on camera, someone.
Zonak. And for listeners, they just shook hands in front of me, so they are shaking. But so that's your bet of the year right now. We'll buy more of those. But
Let's see who runs New York.
Oh, it's gonna be Garrett Cole.
All right.
Hey,
Let's
actually, I just want to take a quick pause. I just want to say congratulations to Garrett Cole and his wife, Amy. They are expecting a baby boy in June. So
Yeah, good
I'll
for
be
them.
I'll be expecting
he's
Thank
in
you for
20
that.
in 2040. That's our new ace.
Well, I'll be expecting a thank you from the Cole family for that. But let's get to our final question, the final part of the show. And this is one of the more interesting ones because it's going to have to do with the rest of the year and being it is New Year's. 2020 championship predictions for every sport. And that question comes from Dan Rodriguez. That was an interesting one. And that was one I had a lot of trouble coming up with one.
Yeah,
because-
there's a lot of thought with that. You know, there's.
But you have the NFL playoffs, which obviously are happening now. So it's at least narrowed down for the NFL.
Yeah.
NBA, NHL, wide
Mid-season,
open.
yeah.
MLB didn't even start yet.
Yeah,
So who
so-
knows? Anybody want to start with that? Or do you want to go sport by sport?
We'll go sports
can
by
go sport by
sport.
sport.
I'll start with the NFL. We'll start with hockey. Honestly,
Okay.
I'm gonna go with this year. I'm gonna go with the Bruins to rebound from their loss to the St. Louis Blues last year in the finals. I think it went 7 games.
Okay.
Yeah, it did go 7 games. The Bruins are a hungry team. They have a great roster, great coach, or manager, or whatever you want to call them. But yes, I think the Bruins are going to be your NHL
interesting.
championship
I
this
think
year.
I'll make it quick with NHL. I gotta pick my Winnipeg Jets to
All
win
right.
over
Oh,
the
man.
New York Islanders in 7 games in the
New
Stanley
York
Cup
Islanders,
Finals.
wow.
Yeah, well, that is Andrew's dream, and I tried not to be a homer with these picks,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna pick
At
the
least my
Rangers.
team's gonna make the playoffs.
I think
this
the
year.
Rangers have a shot. I'm gonna pick the Toronto Maple Leafs to finally get the monkey off their back. Toronto
Like that.
has a championship now. They tasted gold with the Raptors, and they want to taste it again with the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs have a great team.
It's a shame the Maple Leafs suck.
They don't suck. What are you
They
talking
don't-
about?
They're hot right now, but
Yeah,
I don't
they don't
trust.
suck.
I don't trust that team.
The team last
They're
year
a slightly above
on,
average team.
on January 1st, the Blues were in last place.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I know.
wait,
Anything
see,
it's
hockey's
NHL
impossible to
playoffs,
predict.
it can't-
I'm
anything
just
can
gonna stop
happen.
right there because my pick was also
The Maple
The
Leafs?
Toronto Maple
Are you
Leafs.
looking at my paper?
Are you looking at my paper? No, but honestly, I think led by a captain and former Islander, John Tavares, this team is going to win their first championship since the 1966-67 season.
Wow.
And that's it. I just think they're going to do it. They're going to get over the hump.
Yep.
And, Toronto sports right now, look out. I'm telling
Open up
you.
the
Wow, I'm
floodgates for
kind of
Toronto
impressed
sports.
with your hockey knowledge, Pablo.
Just look at it, bro.
I didn't want to pick the Islanders, but I think they also have a good shot.
Yeah.
And the Capitals, that just seemed like too safe of a pick. And you never know in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
It is the hardest sport to predict.
yeah.
It's hard
If
for
you
the number.
don't,
It's hard for the number 1 seed to win.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you don't watch hockey, playoff hockey may be the best playoffs of any sport.
Yeah, it's very
It's
exciting.
the most unpredictable.
It is by
And
far.
I kind of was torn between the Bruins because there's something about Boston sports. I hate every single one of them. I can't stand the Patriots.
So you're trying to copy me or Dan, basically. You're saying.
No. It's just the Bruins. I really do think the Bruins. I don't know.
They can go a little run.
If
There's-
I were to have a bold prediction, I'd say Maple Leafs, and that's who I'm going with. But the
All
Bruins don't count them out.
Well, let's go on to basketball. Who wants to start us off with their basketball prediction?
I guess I'll start. The one concern I have with this pick is, I mean, most people are probably going to pick the Lakers or the Clippers, right? And the one concern I have choosing the Lakers is being 0-2 against the Clippers this year. But when you have 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA right now, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, it just makes a 7-game series just, wow, very tiring
Very
because you
tough.
got to put some bodies on those 2 large men. And if this goes 7 games, it could go 7 games, staying at the Staples Center. It's probably going to be a Western Conference final. And it's funny, I'm not even talking about an Eastern Conference team. I don't. Yeah, maybe the Bucks, but
That Bucks are
this
really
is
the only
going to
team.
be more of a
Sixers, too.
series, the Western Conference Finals, than I think the Eastern Conference.
Or you also never know. They might take each other out. So who knows?
You never know, but I'm just going to stay with my man LeBron. He's going to deliver a championship to LA.
All right, Andrew. Who you got?
So I think in the West, it's gonna be really interesting between the Clippers and the Lakers. I think the Clippers win a 7-game series in that Western Conference Final. So I think they win over the Bucks in the NBA Finals.
Interesting. I think that the Clippers are going to win it all. I think the Lakers, Clippers, Rockets, those were my 3 in the West that I was really just torn of picking apart. In the East, you got the Sixers and you got the Bucks, really. And the Celtics have been very good, but those are the 3 teams in, I think, both conferences that really have the best shots. The Clippers play the best defense. They got scorers everywhere. Lou Williams was off the bench. Montrezl Harrell. I don't even mention Kawhi and Paul George. And those are 2 of the best defenders, 3-and-D guys in the whole league, and they can do anything they want. I think that in the 7-game series, the Lakers don't have the bench to keep up with the Clippers. And LeBron, by then, that's already a whole 82 games plus, what is it, 16, 14 more possibly?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You're saying it's a lot on LeBron?
It's a lot on LeBron. It's a lot on AD. He was
okay.
very injury-prone in
Yeah.
his career.
Yeah.
And
But
I
LeBron
love
has
those
shown,
guys.
he's
Of
proved
course.
it every
Yeah,
year, but
LeBron's
he is
an
getting
animal.
older. Yeah.
But I think the Clippers just are too deep, honestly, for a
They are a
7-game
very
series.
deep team. Very good defensively. Yeah.
Mhm. So I have the Clippers, and I have them going to the finals and winning over the 76ers. I'll be a little different.
76ers, I think they're the 6th or 7th seed right now.
Yeah,
in
but
the
they're
Eastern
also
Conference.
deep, just
Yeah,
like
I know
the
they are
Clippers.
very deep too.
And they play good defense. So
Yep.
I think when the Sixers are on, nobody in the East is better than them except for the Bucks. But
Okay.
you never know. In a 7-game series, the best team doesn't always win.
Yep.
Well, when you look at the West, you think about the Lakers, you think about the Clippers, and I really can't go any different. The Lakers, LeBron James, that's all I have to say. This guy, he's proven that he's the best in the sport. He's the best athlete in all of
Who's that?
sports
Best
right
athlete
now.
of the decade.
He's the best athlete of the decade, and this guy, he's going to bring it. He still has it, and I see Lakers over the Bucks in 5 games.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. And then we'll go to baseball, I
Baseball
guess.
and football.
Yeah, so I'll start off with baseball, and I kind of want to get a little bold here, you know. And you look at last year, Nationals. Anyone pick the Nationals to win the World Series?
Nobody but Connor Dravic.
No one but Connor Dravic, exactly. So it's just getting hot at the right time. Thank you for showing us a picture of LeBron James, Zonak. Going on, this team I really liked last year, the St. Louis Cardinals. They really showed me a lot last year because I think mid-season they were in a very tight division race. They were maybe the 3rd or 4th team in the division, and winning the division over the Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. Those are 2 good teams. No shape about it.
You see, my thing with the Cardinals though is how terrible they looked in the semifinals.
I know.
That was my only.
Yeah.
Their
Yes.
wild card round was. I was so happy they beat the Braves, but man, they looked like complete crap
Yeah.
against the
No,
Nationals.
they look terrible. They're gonna have to make some moves. But when
Need
you're
better
talking
pitching.
when you're talking about getting teams hot at the right time, we've seen it again and again last decade with what the Cardinals were to do.
Well, I like the Cardinals. They're
Who's your pick?
Who's my
Well,
pick?
all right, we all. You don't
right,
even
so-
need to say.
New York Yankees are going to win the 2020 World Series. And to be honest,
I just wanted to switch it up. Sorry.
No, I've look. The Cardinals. Cardinals are a good team.
Yeah.
Bro. You know, they have a good young ace
Yep.
in Jack Flaherty.
Yep.
They have a good bullpen. Giovanni Gallegos, Andrew Miller. I'm not sure if he's going to be healthy this season. You have Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, Jordan.
That bullpen is nasty,
Mm-hmm.
but there's just something about that team. Well, I don't think they have it now. The Yankees are the most complete team
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in all of Major League Baseball.
Best team doesn't always win. You never
No,
know.
no, but I do think that other teams, especially in the American League, is a very top-heavy, league.
Yeah.
So you have the Yankees taking away the best pitcher from, or arguably the best pitcher from the Astros,
Definitely,
and Garrett
arguably,
Cole.
yeah.
So, and I only say that because he didn't win the Cy Young. He was kind of robbed.
Yeah,
But they're taking their best pitcher, right?
That's why I didn't pick the Astros because I thought that pitcher is pretty
Yeah.
big, and Verlander getting older. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Verlander getting older. You have Zach Greinke getting older.
Yep.
They're a team that they really do not have too many hurdles. They really have Boston. They're kind of like they want to shed some payroll. You have teams like the Rays who are on the up. You
Yeah.
have teams like the White Sox who are trying to compete.
Yep.
But there are a lot of teams. I'd say you could probably say. Geez, you could probably say close to 10 teams that aren't even competing for anything. So I just think the Yankees are just going to be.
The Yankees, yeah. I think a
mean-
lot of people would agree they're the best team in the league. But Andrew, who you
Oh, sorry,
picking
real
here?
quick. Just let's look at the American League real quick. I mean, the bottom of the barrel has been the bottom of the barrel in the MLB.
I mean,
There's some easy
the
teams.
Orioles, that's possibly the worst team in baseball in the American League.
Yeah, there's some easy teams to beat in the American League.
I mean, I'm not going to go really bold with this. This is going to kill me to say I do think the New York Yankees win the World Series next year. I have them winning over the Dodgers. They're just easily the best team on paper in baseball right now. They don't have any huge competition like they did last year with the Astros. I think the Astros got progressively worse. That's why I have the Angels as my bold prediction. I do think the Yankees get it done. I think there's a lot of pressure on them this year to win with Garrett Cole signing, and they've made some big moves.
I think
I
they're
think
gonna
this
get
is the
Josh
year
Hader.
that they finally get it done. I mean, there's some moves they could still make to even increase their odds, but I think right now I have to pick the Yankees.
I think that the Yankees are the money pick. They're the best team in the league. It should be that easy, but I'm
Yeah.
going to try to be a little different here.
Yeah, that's what I
And
tried to do.
I would love to pick the New York Mets, but I just can't see them winning it in Beltran's first year. And I think next year, when they spend some money in the free agency, then I think there'll be a hot pick. I'm going to go with a different team in the NL East. And I think that the Philadelphia Phillies are going to make some noise.
God.
And as much as that pains me to say,
Ugh.
they got the right manager in there. They are super talented at every position. They have a good pitching staff. So I'm going to go with the Phillies.
Man, I hope you're wrong. All right, just to get my mind off of that, let's go to the NFL here.
Yeah, last
And
thing.
At the beginning of the season, my Super Bowl prediction was Saints beating the Chiefs. I'm going to stick with that. I think the Ravens do have a good shot at beating the Chiefs. They probably will. I would go Saints-Ravens if I had to change, but I really like the Saints to win. And, man, I hope I'm wrong this week. I hope that is just completely off. I hope I'm so wrong, and that just, I'm not even talking about it again, but you could go.
I want to pick who I think is the best team in football right now.
Ravens don't win. Oh, I thought you
who I think is going to win it all. I think the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in football right now. I think they'll win. I have them winning over the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to make some noise in the AFC. I think they have a good recipe. I think they can keep up and score with the Ravens. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't trust. I mean, obviously Lamar Jackson be the MVP. It's be hard to not trust in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I'll take Patrick Mahomes in a game over Lamar Jackson. So give me the 49ers, the most complete team in football, to win over the Chiefs.
Well, now this could change because depending on how they play in the playoffs and everything. So, but if you're asking me to pick right now, well, my beginning of the year prediction was Patriots-Packers. I don't see that happening right now. The Packers are not. It's weird to say. I don't think they're that great of a team, and they're 13-3.
Patriots are a better chance to win
Than the
Super Bowl
Packers.
than the Packers.
I agree. Well, the NFC is so much tougher.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick somebody right now who's going to win the Super Bowl, easy pick, Baltimore Ravens.
Packers are the
That
worst.
team is phenomenal.
Packers are the worst 13-3 team I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
it's a little ridiculous. The only other team that comes to mind is the Panthers from like 2000.
Yep.
So I think, 2008 with
Yeah.
Jake Delhomme. That
Yeah.
was the team that I thought of. But yeah, the Packers, very weird. They have a bye week. I was shocked to even find out they were still in the running a couple
Yeah,
weeks
No,
ago.
unbelievable.
Remember how I said you can never count out Tom Brady and the New England Patriots?
I hope you count them out right now.
I would love to, but
Oh,
they're going
man.
to win the Super Bowl this year. And that's just it.
Yeah.
That's
Simple as that.
simple as that. That's it.
Well, that was Before the Score, episode 4. We hope you're with us all 2020. And Happy New Year. And follow along with us on Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you follow along with. So Before the Score, episode 4. Happy New Year.